If Microsoft wasn't having such a great year so far, this is definitely the icing on the cake. You got Microsoft year to date up 54%. And with Microsoft's breaking news today, that may climb even higher in the future. Microsoft announces custom AI chip that could compete with Nvidia. This is huge news for Microsoft for many reasons, and this news was just announced today, only a few hours ago. So we're going to be taking a look at a news interview that discusses some of the implications of this and how it could affect Microsoft, Nvidia, and other tech giants. But before we get into that, if you're new to the After Hours channel, welcome. My name's Anthony. I'm a long-term investor, and what you're looking at here is my dividend portfolio. If you're unfamiliar with the series going on, it's called Road to 1 Million, and essentially I'll be tracking this portfolio that you see on your screen right here all the way to $1 million. I know we're a far way off, but there were a few setbacks and a few obstacles to overcome, but we're getting back on track now, and I can promise you in the next few years this portfolio is going to grow substantially. Taking a look at the year-to-date performance, this portfolio is up 43%, so it's been an amazing year. Now, if you've been around for a little bit, I have been preaching about Microsoft for years now. It's actually one of my biggest bets in my portfolio, even after selling $15,000 worth of this company. Taking a look here over at the right, it is still 30% of my portfolio with an average buy-in of $250. So, needless to say, Microsoft is trading at $369 today. It's been a good couple years with this investment. With the recent announcement of Microsoft moving away from Nvidia's chips, it could get even better. Let's take a look at that.
This hour, we heard from Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella as Microsoft becomes the latest big company to start making its own chips, something Apple has done as well. Joining us now from San Francisco is CNBC.com's Katie Tarasov, along with our own Steve Kovac. Welcome to both of you. And Steve, let's just start with these announcements from Microsoft. And Nvidia shares moving lower, Intel moving higher. How significant
and
is
AMD
it?
a little lower too, because keep in mind they're about to have their own AI chip that Microsoft is taking. But look, what the news here today was two big announcements. One is this new AI chip that Microsoft is going to start using in its servers to help push this AI, all these AI models that they're using for their new Copilot things. That was the other announcement today, by the way. Copilot is getting some new features. This is the product that they sell to enterprises for $30 per user per month. We've been talking about this for ages. So sweetening the pot a little bit there. But look, the real story is why we're seeing Nvidia go lower, because of this idea that companies that bring their chip design inside, they're less reliant on third parties. Microsoft's case going to be less reliant on Nvidia. And as we're about to talk here with Katie,
what does Copilot do?
Copilot is your super smart assistant that can help you with everything. And, you know, whether that means reading your emails and telling you what you missed, transcribing Teams meetings that you have and telling you know, action items from that. So there's a whole suite of things it could do. It could be here all day. But
now I'll just pause it right there for a quick second. You're watching everything that's going on, and then he gets hit with that curveball question. It seems like he definitely wasn't prepared for it, but I think he did a good job answering it. But let's keep watching and see what's going on.
Apple is a really good example of another company that's successfully done this, weaned itself off these Intel chips and started producing them in-house to great benefit.
And the Microsoft-Intel relationship goes back decades, literally. Katie, you got a rare look inside the chip-making operations of Apple.
All right, so I'll pause it right there for a second because I think they highlighted something pretty important, and they'll go into it a bit more in the rest of the video. But I think it's important to note that Microsoft doing this, you may not see the long-term effects right now. That's why they're long-term effects. And if we look at the stock price for the day, I mean, it's pretty flat. Even with this news, there's not much movement on the stock price. But in case you missed it, Microsoft has just created an extremely important partnership with OpenAI that could truly revolutionize this company. Previous articles and analysis on this company when they first made the acquisition were estimating that Microsoft's market cap could increase $300 billion just because of this acquisition alone. And with the recent demo by the OpenAI team and Satya Nadella, it could go even higher. If that wasn't enough, now you have Microsoft making its own AI chips, which I imagine are going to be incorporated with OpenAI somehow. Not only that, but as they mentioned in the interview, Microsoft has had this partnership with Nvidia for over a decade now. So similar to Apple creating their own M1 chips and bringing it in-house, you're going to see Microsoft doing the same thing. And over time, I think this is going to have some positive effects on the company, not only from a financial standpoint, but as they mentioned as well, from a creative standpoint. They can make the adjustments on the fly for what exactly they need.
Earlier, what can you tell us?
That's right. I went to Cupertino, California yesterday, and we actually were the first journalists to be allowed to film inside of an Apple chip lab. So they have thousands of engineers working on their custom silicon, and we went inside their thermal chip lab, one of many labs. I couldn't get an answer for exactly how many. And here you see me with Johnny Cerrugi. He's the head of Apple Silicon, and I'll get to what he told us a little bit later. But we went inside the chip lab where we saw the M3 chip, which is their newest custom silicon. It's being used on MacBooks, MacBook Pros, iMacs, helping them, differentiate themselves with some new features, things like 22-hour battery life on the MacBooks. And they were testing in that lab on about 250 machines that we saw. They were running them through really high temperatures, really low temperatures to see how they do. And they test these chips on a variety of other machines in other environments at a bunch of chip labs elsewhere. They've also got some chip labs in Austin, in Israel, in Germany. And like I said, thousands of engineers working on this. We also got to see some of their A-series chips. These are the chips that go into the new iPhone 15. Specifically, they are 3-nanometer chips. This is an extremely advanced type of chip. It's the first 3-nanometer chip that we're seeing shipped at scale. And so, yeah, we got to sit down with Johnny Cerrugi, who you just saw me with there, and he gave...
All right, so that was a lot of information to take in, and they're only talking about Apple's chips. So it's funny, this video is labeled Microsoft announces custom AI chip, but the majority of this video are them talking about Apple's chip. I think the reason they do that is because there's not many other companies that are as large as Microsoft that did something similar in recent history. So it makes sense for them to lean on Apple and how they moved away from the Intel chips after using them for year after year. I think what they're trying to get at is that they think the benefits of Microsoft doing this are very similar, if not identical, to what Apple did recently.
Microsoft is doing right now with AI, bringing this in-house. They're able to have more capabilities on the AI front, and we've seen Apple do this already when they don't have to rely on a third party to fulfill the vision they have for a product. They can just do it all in-house, talk to the teams internally, don't have to wait for problems to express themselves from Intel and other places. So we're seeing that. We've seen Apple successfully pull this off, and now we're seeing Microsoft get into it on this AI front. So it's super interesting and interesting timing that we got this.
Really the frontier of this business. Thanks very much.
All right, so that's pretty much the whole interview on that, and they pretty much highlighted exactly what I said. They're comparing this to Apple, doing the same thing with Intel. They think it's definitely a benefit for the company, even though you may not see it right now in the stock price. And this is going to allow Microsoft to have more creativity and more control over their chips and exactly what they want those chips to do in the future. So let's take a look at Microsoft's financials real quick. So let's take a look at the valuation section. Now, if this company wasn't already considered overvalued with a current 35 PE and a forward PE of 27, I think it's going to go much higher in the future with this announcement. With that being said, I would not be surprised to see this cash flow skyrocket in the future with this new announcement. Now, they didn't talk about it much, and I haven't seen many articles on it, how much money this is going to save Microsoft in the future, but make no mistake about it, for a company this size to make a decision like that, it has to be financially beneficial as well. One thing I think it's important to look at as well, and this is Microsoft's R&D. This is how much they spend on R&D each year. So as you can see, their R&D expenses have increased year after year. With this new innovation and this new AI chip coming to market, I think this is only going to go up as well. In 2023, Microsoft spent $27 billion on their research and development team alone. Compare that to their free cash flow of nearly $60 billion, and it goes without saying it's a sizable chunk of their money and what they take home. Lastly, let's take a look at Nvidia, and any shareholders out there, I'm sure you guys are curious how this is going to affect this company. So as of right now, there's not much movement in the stock price. Nvidia is down 1.55%, so it doesn't look like anything crazy is happening as of right now. But if we take a look at Nvidia's free cash flow, as you can see, it has gone significantly down from 2022 to 2023. If I had to make a guess, I imagine this is probably going to go down even more with that new announcement because Nvidia is not getting that money from Microsoft to buy their chips anymore. If I was a betting man, with Nvidia up 241% year to date, I'd imagine that this stock is going to see a correction in the next few weeks or the next few months. But with that being said, let me know what you guys think of this news. Is it a positive for Microsoft? Is it a positive for Nvidia in some way? Or do you think it's not going to have much effect on either company? I look forward to seeing your answers. And of course, if you found this video useful and you didn't know about this news, feel free to subscribe, like the video, hit the bell notification, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.